Well, welcome to This Month in Hamilton. I want to thank WBCB 1490 AM for providing us another opportunity for me to tell you what's going on in Hamilton this month. Today, at the time of the recording, it's the morning of Tuesday, June 28th, 2022. So a lot going on in the township, a lot of good things that I want to just talk to you about for a little bit. And then our guest today is Diana Zita. She's the the CEO of the Hamilton area YMCA, located on Whitehorse and Sawmill Avenue. So a lot of good stuff. We'll check in with her about what the Y has going on, not only on a day-to-day basis, but especially in the summer when they gear up for a lot of summer programs and the like. Want to thank our sponsors, Angelo Onifree and the Mercer County Prosecutor's Office, Capital Health Systems, Haldeman Ford Subaru, and Radiology Affiliates Imaging. So a lot of good stuff coming up for the township. As I said, this is Tuesday, June 28th, and this Friday the weather looks great, a little warm, but not rainy at all. So we have our 4th of July celebration going on Friday evening at Veterans Park. So for those who want to come out and listen to some music, we have the Soul Cruisers performing starting at 6 p.m. At DeMayo Field over on the south side of Veterans Park. And then the fireworks usually go off right around 9:30 p.m. And we know all of you have your own special spot where you like to watch the fireworks from. So looks like we'll get that in this Friday with no issues. If the weather forecast does change, then we'll have our rain date on Saturday, July 2nd. But as of June 28th, everything looks good to go right now, weather-wise, band-wise, firework-wise, for this Friday, July 1st. Right on the heels of that, we'll have our National Night Out in August, sponsored by our Hamilton Township Police Department. That'll be the first Tuesday evening in August, also at Veterans Park South. Last year was probably the largest turnout they've had for a National Night Out. We're hoping to meet or exceed that this year. A lot of great programming coming up. Obviously, we'll have our police department out there. We'll have our fire department out there, our public works department for Touch a Truck. We know many of the kids like climbing and getting on some of our pieces of heavy equipment that keep our township operating. And then a lot of vendors and the like as well. So just spend a lot of time over in Vets Park South over the next 6 weeks, and you'll see a lot going on. For those of you who play pickleball, also in Veterans Park South, you'll notice we've begun construction on 6 new pickleball courts in the south side of Veterans Park. We're really excited about that because then in the middle of August, we have again a national pickleball tournament coming right here again to Hamilton, New Jersey. Last year was their first year. This year it will be their second year. And just to, again, show you the growth of the sport, the growth of the league and how they see Hamilton as part of it. Last year's total purse was $25,000. This year it's actually doubled to $50,000. So it's a great opportunity for those of you who like pickleball. Once the courts are finished, to have another opportunity to get to play a game, but also to watch some professionals come right here to Hamilton and play. It's also a big boost to our local economy. You have people coming in from around the country. They're staying in our hotels. They're eating at our restaurants. And so it's a nice win for our township. Want to thank everybody who was involved. Looking backwards a little bit, we had some fantastic parades on Memorial Day, the 150th anniversary of the Yardville-Groveville parade, as well as the Nottingham parade. Beautiful weather, and so a lot of people put a lot of time and effort and sweat into making sure those events got off and went off without a hitch. They were very well attended by all of you, and it's just a great opportunity for us to acknowledge those who made the ultimate sacrifice. In terms of some governmental news, excuse me, just this month the Township Council passed the municipal budget. That budget included no new tax raise this year, which we're very excited about. I know all of you are as well. But even in terms of better news, the school board also passed a budget for their upcoming fiscal year with no new tax increase, and the county as well. So for the three entities that make up about 98% of your tax bill, there is no additional taxes that will be included in your bill this year. So while we know all of you are having some difficulty with inflationary issues, more higher costs at the gas pump, higher costs at the grocery store, it's a great way for your governments to be able to hold taxes steady. And just in a day or two, it looks like the state will also pass a new budget for the upcoming fiscal year that, again, includes no new tax increases. And even better, it includes a new program, what the governor's calling the Anchor program, as a property tax rebate. So many of you, if you're a household earning less than $150,000 a year, will actually get a $1,500 credit against your property taxes. So a great way for you all to save a little money, again, as you're experiencing some inflationary pressures. And even under that program, if you're a renter and you don't pay property taxes, but you have a certain income level, you'll get a $450 check from the state government. So we know you're all facing problems. The government serving you are doing their best to make sure that those problems are kept to a minimum. Also in the state budget, our Hamilton Township School District, I think, is roughly getting about $12 million in additional funding this year, and they're putting some of that funding right into their outdoor youth recreation program, specifically new turf fields at each high school to replace the varsity fields at each high school. So that'll be something you'll be seeing in the coming months and year. And then as part of the state budget, I want to thank Senator Greenstein, Assemblyman D'Angelo, Assemblyman Benson. We're getting a grant to put a generator at our Hamilton Township Animal Shelter. One of the things we realized over the coming years is with an increase in storms causing power outages and the like, we needed a generator there to keep the animals cool, to keep the rooms from getting too hot. And so having a generator there, when we would be in the middle of a power outage and putting out all sorts of other crises, it just eliminates one crisis that we would have to address, which is moving as many as 50 or more animals to different shelters and locations throughout the area. So it's a great addition for our Hamilton Township Animal Shelter, to have a generator there to eliminate that issue in the future. So I want to thank our state legislators for getting that done and getting it in the state's budget this year, because it'll go a long way to helping us out locally. Related just to some other things going on in the township, in terms of a COVID update, as I provide you each and every month, you'll notice usually I put that right at the front, but there was a lot of other good things I wanted to talk about first before we got to our COVID update. We seem to be holding pretty steady. Over the last 6 or 8 weeks or so, our numbers have fluctuated between 130 to about 175 cases, new cases every week. Again, we are only getting cases that are reported through a PCR test or when somebody reaches out to their medical provider such that it gets put in the state health system. So we know there's more cases than that each and every week, but it kind of gives us a good barometer of what we're seeing. Just yesterday, I had the opportunity to go to essentially the equivalent of the state of the township for our Robert Wood Johnson Hospital in Hamilton, and I had the opportunity to talk to the CEO, Rich Freeman, who told me as of yesterday had 6 inpatient people over at the hospital here in Hamilton with COVID, 4 of which are unvaccinated, 2 of which are vaccinated, but it is far less than the 40, 50, 60 patients they had this past January. So again, it just goes to show you while the cases continue to come, knock wood, the severity of those cases is not as severe as we've seen in the past. So, but again, it still causes a disruption in services. It causes that disruption in the supply chain again. And so we just know it makes everything a little bit more frustrating, because while we want to be back to where we were pre-pandemic, every once in a while we get hit with a reminder that we're truly not there yet. And we have a staff member or two or three that goes down. So even for us as a township government to be able to provide you those same services you're used to, just deal with us because we're having some of those same issues. For example, in our senior center, we are waiting, we have to wait over 6 months to get a new air conditioning unit at our senior center because of the supply chain shortage. So we've had to put up temporary air conditioning units and the like. So it's frustrating for us. We know it's frustrating for you, but we're doing the best we can each and every day to provide you the services that you're used to, because we want you to get on with your life as much as we can. One other thing I'd like to talk about, and we'll talk with Diana Zita when she's up here. Many of you have probably seen the announcement, is that the Hamilton Township is actually going to be purchasing from the Hamilton YMCA their sawmill facility. It's something we're very excited about, and we've managed to, I think, do it in a way, thanks to their help and thanks to DEP and Brian Hughes and our Mercer County government, that we're going to be able to do at no cost to Hamilton residents. And you say, how's that even possible? So we'll be preserving that parcel. It's about, I think, somewhere around 40 or 50 acres, preserving it as open space. And there'll be some trails that'll be open to the public year-round for them to walk in. And so by doing that, the state, through their DEP open space program, Green Acres program, will reimburse the township 50% of the cost. And because, again, we're preserving it as open space, the county will also reimburse the township 50% of the cost of the purchase. So it's a great way for the township to purchase that facility. We're leasing it back to the YMCA so they can continue to run their great programming here, serving the residents of Hamilton Township. We should be closing any day now, is what I hear. So it's an exciting time, a lot of good stuff going on. But I wanted to let you know we'll definitely be talking with Diana about that. So we're going to go on a short break. Again, want to thank our sponsors, Mercer County Prosecutor Angela Wanafree, Capital Health System, Haldeman Ford Subaru, and Radiology Affiliates Imaging. And when we come back, we'll be back with Diana Zita.
Capital Health's primary care network continues to grow, bringing its extensive option of locations to your neighborhood. Whether you're scheduling a wellness checkup or not feeling well, advanced medicine starts with a Capital Health primary care doctor at locations near you in Mercer, Bucks, and Burlington counties. To find a Capital Health primary care location that's convenient for you, visit capitalmedicalgroup.org. That's capitalmedicalgroup.org.
This is Angela Wanafree, your Mercer County Prosecutor, and I'd like to take this opportunity to wish all of our Mercer County student athletes the best of luck, and also urge parents to stay involved in your children's school activities. Extracurricular events are a great way to keep your sons and daughters focused, and it does not have to be athletics. They can be involved with the drama club, the school band, even the debate team. An involved student today has a brighter future tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the Mercer County Prosecutor's Office, and I hope you enjoyed today's game.
Merrill Reese, here to tell you about my good friends at Haldeman Ford Subaru on Route 33 in Hamilton Township. For outstanding sales and service, you can depend on the folks at Haldeman Ford Subaru for the best value on new and pre-owned Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs, along with a great selection of value-priced new and pre-owned Subarus. And no one offers the service that Haldeman does in their huge, state-of-the-art service facility. Service so great that many area municipalities and commercial fleets get their service performed by Haldeman Ford Subaru. From Langhorne to Princeton, folks like you, to commercial fleets, trust the name Haldeman for sales and service. Haldeman Ford Subaru, Route 33 in Hamilton Township.
Well, welcome back to This Month in Hamilton. Want to again thank our sponsors, Angela Wanafree in the Mercer County Prosecutor's Office, Capital Health System, Radiology Affiliates Imaging, and Haldeman Ford Subaru. So as I mentioned before, we're joined here with Diana Zita this morning. Good morning, Diana.
Good morning. Nice to be here.
Thank you. Nice to have you here. So for those who don't know you or I haven't run into you in your position as CEO of the Hamilton area YMCA. First, how long have you been the CEO? It probably seems longer than it has,
Well,
right?
the last 2 years have added 20. So it's been 5 years, but I've actually been at the Y for a total of 12 now.
Oh, wow. So what did you do before you were CEO?
So a little background, actually born and raised in Hamilton, so yay, as most most people here stay here. Went to McCarston High School, and again now, which is Trenton Catholic Preparatory Academy, so just a shout out to them. It's a great school. Loved Hamilton, but growing up, as most teenagers become a little rambunctious, I wanted to kind of go out and look for greener pastures, so to say. So went out into New York City, went there, got my degree there, and worked in New York City on Wall Street for several years.
Oh, wow.
Loved that. Loved the finance world. It was just very intriguing. And then I went even further, and I went to Florida and worked there for Fortune 500, doing treasury management work, and thoroughly enjoyed my work and just being learning about other places. I had my first son down there, and that was very pivotal. As you know, when you
Yes.
have a child, the world just kind
Changes.
of changes. And it's funny. As much as I loved doing everything I did, things crystallized with my son, and especially because he had some significant health issues challenges that we had to deal with. And it's funny, in times like that, things become much clearer to you, right? Times of crisis, it's amazing how things really do open up. And, I made a couple of, promises to myself. One was that I was going to move back to Hamilton because I realized how much community actually meant to me and how much I missed it here. And especially having a family, you wanted that community atmosphere where it was love, and that people around you were looking after you and after your kids as well. So that was a big part of my thought process. And then the other part was I kind of realized, even though I liked what I did, and it fulfilled me in certain ways, it didn't actually feed my soul. So there's always that missing piece. And as you know, the finance world is a wonderful world. It's very fast-paced. You go through quarters, and you make your numbers, and things are exciting, and and you prosper. But it wasn't feeding my soul.
You weren't seeing the fruits of your labor, so to speak.
No, I mean, certainly financially.
Sure.
But not from a life perspective, right? Not from a fulfillment perspective. And it gave me pause to rethink what I wanted to do. And at that moment, or those moments, I decided that the nonprofit world was something that I really should consider and want to be part of, which never was anywhere I thought in my the prior decades of my existence. So, but it hit me from a very personal place. So I moved back up to Hamilton. And lo and behold, it was like, the stars aligned and the gods smiled on me, and there was a position open at the Hamilton area YMCA as the CFO.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, wow, this could not have been more serendipitous, right? So that was my segue into the Y, and I loved it. And of course, I did the finance side of it for a long time, and I worked in operations with operations as well. But I loved being back in the community. So that was the biggest pull for me, to be back here and be with the people that I had been with growing up. So when I talk about the Y, it is obviously very personal to me, because it's coming back to my community, and to me coming back to the organization that strengthens our community every day. So
Sure.
it's I always like to say the Y. It's community strengthening community. We all work together to make ourselves better and happier and stronger.
So, for those who don't know, the Y is more than just the gym there,
Oh,
obviously,
gosh,
on
yes.
Whitehorse Ave, right? And we'll get into that a little later. But as now the CEO, right? Obviously, you've had a tremendously difficult last 2+ years
Yes.
in navigating uncharted territory. But take that aside, right? What are some of the things you're doing as CEO, even like pre-pandemic, or now as you're trying to get back to a new normal?
For us, there's certain points that I think we identified that we wanted to expand in our community. One of it was really reaching out to marginalized areas. I know Hamilton is just so big, right? I mean, it's 90,000 big, and just there's so many communities of Hamilton, and we wanted to expand in a way that enabled people to get our services that perhaps couldn't either physically get to us by because of transportation barriers or because of financial barriers, and we've really managed to do that. So in the last 5 years or so, we've gotten into communities and through transportation like Bromley. So we've been there certainly for the last 2.5 or 3 years. White City, the Wilson Center, we've worked very closely with them. So for me, it was really expanding the footprint of the Y to reach communities that, again, can't necessarily get to us for whatever barriers there exist. So for us, that was one. The other point that we could talk about and maybe expand on a little bit later is just aquatic safety is just so huge right now. And I will tell you, because of the pandemic, our numbers have been increasing. So drownings have gotten exponentially worse because people can't get to the pool. They're not doing swim lessons, and children are still around water. So these are things that become very important because this is life or death. Right?
Well, I think I just even heard on the news this morning. We're already as a state at the shore up to 11 or 12 drowning deaths in the year, and it's still June.
It's not surprising. So just some statistics. One, so children 0 to 4, it's the second leading cause of death, only second to birth defects, which that is huge when you think about it.
Wow.
And then kids 1 to 14, again, second leading cause of death, only to car accidents.
Wow.
So when we talk about these numbers, and these are things this is preventable. It is absolutely preventable. In the last year, we administered, or we did 2,000 swim lessons, and that's with COVID going on, right? 450 of those were scholarshiped.
Wow.
So we are committed to getting every child in Hamilton a swim lesson and get them water safety. So we have programs like the 2nd grade swim initiative and the 8th grade swim initiative going on right now. And again, we could talk a little bit more about those later. But the idea is, to reduce that number to 0 at some point.
Sure. And we talk a little bit about Sawmill. I hit just before we went to break. So I know you and I have been intimately involved with this, but as I mentioned before, the township's going to be closing hopefully in 2 days,
Yes.
fingers crossed. But you've got the large pool there,
Yes.
and that's where some of these swim lessons happen as well, right?
Absolutely. It is the largest pool in Mercer County, I was told by the inspectors, so that's not from me, it's from them. But absolutely. So we have both swim lessons going on there all the time, certainly throughout summer, and then during camp too. So obviously we have a huge camp there. We have several hundred kids there right now, I'm sure,
Wow.
swimming, laughing and
It's a
playing.
beautiful day to swim.
Beautiful day to swim. And they got the opportunity to swim in a safe place, right, where there's lifeguards, there's, counselors there watching them, and it gives them, again, the opportunity to kind of start to get used to being in the water and feel safe in the water and start getting their ability to
Their
swim.
confidence up, right?
Confidence,
And
yes.
and this goes back to what I was talking about, right? Why it was so important to make sure the Sawmill facility is preserved, right? So that you've got a few hundred kids there.
Yes.
If we don't buy it and it's not preserved, and not least that opportunity for kids to have that experience, to have those lessons and the like, it goes away.
It does. So again, and this partnership was profoundly important. And as you said, first of all, I mean, we couldn't have, I don't think it could have been constructed any more perfectly, right, where everyone wins on this across the board. But what it did for the Y is allowed us, again, financially now to expand, right, and to do more for the community. And that was the whole, purpose of this, as we spoke about
Sure.
earlier on. So, if we did this, then what happens? Well, then more kids can come to camp, right? More kids could come and do, sports lessons. More people can have accessibility to a beautiful, property that they can walk around and enjoy. So there was, positives at every turn, and honestly, I still am looking for the negatives. So if you found any, let me know.
Other than maybe a few gray hairs trying to get to this point, right? But That's with anything.
That's with anything, yes.
Yeah. And so I know even you're actually busing kids in from
Yes.
some of our lower socioeconomic areas, so
Yes.
they have the ability to go to the rural part of Hamilton that many of them have never even seen before.
It is, and if anyone has not seen Sawmill, I encourage you, please go out there. It really is this beautiful oasis. It's a perfect, natural preserve. And it is so different than most other parts of Hamilton. And I know when people do go out there, they always question, is this Hamilton? Yes, it is Hamilton. It's just this, again, beautifully, just preserved, part of Hamilton that is completely, with nature, at peace with nature. And yes, for a lot of those kids, they live in certainly more of an urban area, and they don't have the opportunity to kind of be in this place where it's just 50 acres of beauty and space, and you can run and all these wonderful games out there, and a pool, and just an experience that I think every kid should have.
And speaking of an experience every kid should have, you had a new experience this year for rising sixth graders or graduating fifth graders, whatever term you want to use, right, from our Hamilton School District.
Absolutely. So we came up with the idea with Dr. Scott Rocco and obviously and yourself, and to really celebrate obviously this partnership and also celebrate coming out of the pandemic, right? We have really spent the last 2.5 years, everyone struggling, especially the school kids. I mean, we can't forget about how difficult this must have been for them to spend their, developmental years doing virtual work and not being really, able to socialize with their friends. The impact there was really profound, and I know we'll see the impact of this later on, as the years progress. But we wanted to create a celebration for them where they could all be together, right, at Sawmill in this beautiful open space. They could run around and play, socialize with other kids, right, without fear or any of that, right, just the ability to run and play. And we did it. So we did 3 days. There's 17 schools, a lot of kids. There's 900 and some odd children. So we broke it up into 3 days. And we mixed all the schools, right? So, kids, and then when they got there, we actually put them into different groups. So they would have, groups or kids from 5 different schools, and they got to meet kids that they may potentially now
Go to middle school with, or, yeah.
So, and then they did all these wonderful activities, like team building activities, so they had to work with each other to get, to the other side or whatever it is, to be successful, and it was great. It was a wonderful, extraordinary 3-day event, and I think it will be memorable for them, especially after the last 2 years, to end it this way, and then, to kind of introduce them into their new middle school years.
Awesome. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk more about what the why's going on that, again, people may not just fully understand. So we'll be back in just a little bit with Diana.
Capital Health's primary care network continues to grow, bringing its extensive option of locations to your neighborhood. Whether you're scheduling a wellness checkup or not feeling well, advanced medicine starts with a Capital Health primary care doctor at locations near you in Mercer, Bucks, and Burlington counties. To find a Capital Health primary care location that's convenient for you, visit capitalmedicalgroup.org. That's capitalmedicalgroup.org.
This is Angelo Onifree, your Mercer County prosecutor, and I'd like to take this opportunity to wish all of our Mercer County student athletes the best of luck, and also urge parents to stay involved in your children's school activities. Extracurricular events are a great way to keep your sons and daughters focused, and it does not have to be athletics. They can be involved with the drama club, the school band, even the debate team. An involved student today has a brighter future tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the Mercer County Prosecutor's Office, and I hope you enjoyed today's game.
Radiology Affiliates Imaging has been part of the Hamilton community for over 50 years, with 2 convenient locations, RAI Chi Hamilton and RAI Lawrenceville. We offer expertise in all areas of imaging for all members of your family. Our board-certified specialty radiologists offer expertise in women's imaging, interventional radiology, musculoskeletal and diagnostic radiology. Whether you need an MRI, CAT scan, ultrasound, mammogram, or X-ray, we offer the latest in imaging technology and interpretation. In the last 50 years, RAI has earned our place amongst the largest and most respected radiology groups in our area. For more information on all RAI has to offer, visit www.4rai.com.
So welcome back to This Month in Hamilton. Want to again thank our sponsors, Angelo Onofre in the Mercer County Prosecutor's Office, Capital Health Systems, Haldeman Ford Subaru, and Radiology Affiliates Imaging. So just before we went to break, we were talking about all the stuff with the graduating fifth graders at Sawmill and the like, right? But the Y partners with a lot of our schools for aftercare programs and things besides just a fun field day at Sawmill.
Absolutely. So we're in 13 of the 17 schools.
Wow.
We've been there since the 1980s. So proud of our program for many reasons. One, our staff is one of the most highly trained staff, that there is, hands down. There is so much training that goes in regarding child abuse prevention, first aid, just all of those things that need to be incorporated. So 20 plus hours before any of the staff sit in front of a child, which is so important because we want to make sure that they're comfortable, right, and we have the best qualified staff to take care of our kids. But yeah, the program is wonderful. We have, and it's just not, it's simply not just an aftercare program. We have lots of enrichment activities that go on. So when the kids do come out after school, I know they're excited and they're rambunctious.
It's the best part of the day, right, as a kid, right?
All right, like we got to do stuff, and we do. I mean, there's lots of activities that we do. Obviously, there's the normal things like wash your hands and take a snack, and we have them eat, and we have homework help time. So they, those who want to do their homework sit and quietly do homework, and they have, our staff will help as well. But then we have lots of fun activities. And we use programs with even the activities, just the physical pieces of activities to make sure that all kids are engaged. So back in the day, right, and I know I'm older than you, but we would play like kickball. And, one person would be kicking, right, and then the rest would be kind of be standing around waiting for the ball to come to them or not, depending on where the ball is. And, we've improved upon those kind of activities where everybody is engaged. So everyone is working, everyone is, being physically active and engaged in the activity. So we've improved things just like, over the years. So everyone's actively engaged. And, we teach them about, healthy eating habits and things of that nature. So when we do give them a snack, we talk to them about, slow foods and go foods, right? So the slow foods are like, the Twinkies. So you can have them every once in a while, but, they slow you down. But a go food is like an apple, right? So then we give them an apple, and, that'll be their snack for the day. So it's, a continuation, I think, of the learning process, and we do this intentionally, right, with the school. So there's always learning going on, as well as socialization, which is so important. And they don't sometimes get that during the day because obviously they're sitting and paying attention and they're learning.
Learning
right?
2 plus 2 or whatever the case may be, right?
And, they've got to sit still, and it's hard for kids to sit still. So now they get to actually just be free a little bit and hang with their kids and their friends and, just enjoy being a kid. And having both my kids in the program, I loved when I would pick them up and they didn't want to be picked up. And that was to me.
It's a blessing and a curse, right?
It's of course, they're like, go back to the car and come back in 10 minutes. And I'm like, all right, fine. But that they're having fun, and they're like, we're playing with our friends. We have to finish the game. You got to come back. Okay, I'll come back. But that's wonderful. They're having a good experience, and it's something again that they're going to remember.
So it's a fully booked program every year, right?
It is. Some schools still have a wait list, and obviously with COVID, and I'm sure everyone understands this, the staffing situation has been very challenging, not just for us, but everyone, I think, across the nation at this point is having challenges with, filling staff positions. As we get more staff, we open up more positions. So for every one staff person we get, we can open up 15 more slots.
Oh, wow.
Perspective. So if anyone would like a part-time job working for the Y, there is huge benefits and incentives like getting memberships and pool memberships. So by all means, look on our website or come visit us. Again, the staffing is very important.
Sure.
But yes, the program is doing well, and we are right now just trying to ramp up the staff so we can get as many kids as we can in that program.
And then, so let's talk about when somebody becomes a member of the Y,
Yes.
right? You sign up, you say, I want to become a member. Again, yes, the gym membership is the first thing many people think of, but there's
course.
far more to it than that. So what does that open the door to?
Certainly. So really, a lot of our memberships are actually family memberships. And again, I mean, we run the gamut, 1 to 100 and actually 100 plus. So the program membership or the family membership brings you the opportunity, obviously, to use the facility anytime you want. So you can come if you have kids and like yourself, you can come and use the pool, right? You want to just, hey, you know what? It's hot. We just want to use the pool and go swimming for a little while. Or it's December and you want to come use the pool because you want to just pretend like it's summer. We have a wonderful basketball court as well that is always being occupied, especially early mornings and late nights, right? There's people that come in and just play pickup ball. So there's activities like that. We also have personal trainers that come, that are there, obviously, if you need one-on-one. But we have coaches, too. So when you come in and you may not know, like, how to use the equipment, we have people there that can help you. They'll take you through. There's always someone there, 1 or 2 people to help with any questions that you may have, so you're comfortable before you do anything. Then it also gives you discounts on all the other programs we have. So the swim that I mentioned, so we have swim lessons, obviously, for children all the way to adults. And I encourage you, we have lots of adults that come and take swim lessons. They decide at some point that that's a goal.
As it should be,
As
right?
it should be, right? It's important. They come and they do that. But we have dance lessons. We put on this beautiful recital every year. We just had it at Reynolds Middle School this year. The kids are just adorable, and it was just absolutely the best recital I've seen. We also have gymnastics and karate. So we run the gamut on programs. There's always something going on. Youth programs. So you have a little one who wants to kind of get to know, what sports they like. We have programs that kind of introduce them to all the sports, right? So every week they'll learn something different. So they get, they can decide, well, maybe it's baseball, maybe it's basketball. And then, of course, from that, you could sign them up for basketball or for soccer. It really is a continuum when you come to the Y. So you can come and you can be, tiny baby taking, swim lessons and then, work your way through, dance or even come to our preschool, which we have, which is now back up and running, which is absolutely wonderful. We have wonderful teachers to all our programs until, as you get older, like myself, or you might need a little extra help with the personal trainer to yell at you to get going. But it really is a continuum. And, as you get to our older population, our seniors and our active, our older adults, the Y has been absolutely a community center for them.
So we've talked a lot about kid programs, right? Yes. But people know in Hamilton there's, I think, 8 or 9 55 and up communities, right?
Yes.
And so with that comes a different segment of the population who has different needs and different requirements than a 5-year-old or a 3-year-old would have, right? And so you have programs geared to that segment as well, even.
Absolutely. So our programs, again, are, we have instructors that just, put on, do programs just for them, right? So these are specific for active older adults or people that want low impact or whoever, would categorize. But it's really geared towards them. And there's such a social aspect to this as well. So obviously I'm in the facility all the time, and it's where people gather, right? So they come, they sit, they hang at the tables. And it's so nice to see this back, because obviously we had that pause during COVID, but now everyone is back. And it's a commute. They look out for each other. So I will say to someone, hey, did you see so-and-so today? And they're like, no. And you could see them like, well, let me find out where they are, right? It's important. And we all keep tabs on each other. If someone doesn't come in for a little while and we know they come in every day, then we reach out and just kind of make sure they're okay and everything is going well. But it is a community. And what I love about it as well is intergenerational. My mom has belonged to the Y for 20-some years, right?
Wow.
And, it's funny when I first moved back up and she was talking about the Y before I even, applied there. She said to me, "You have to put your kids in the preschool program." That was the first thing she said. She goes, "I love watching those little kids, walk through the hall when they go to the kids' gym to do their exercises and to have their play time." And, it's wonderful because you have all these generations in one place, and they're enjoying that, right? The kids love seeing the old, they smile, they wave, right? And the older folks just enjoy being around, the youth.
So a lot of good stuff that way too. And I know you mentioned a lot, but that's all right here on Whitehorse, or is it spread out?
Well, it's mostly here on Whitehorse, but also obviously it's Sawmill. So we talked about that. Right now we have camp going on, and there's, like I said, 300 some kids running around out there having a really good time. But that's not all we do at Sawmill as well. We have fields out there, so we have 3 soccer fields, 3 baseball fields, and other small fields going on. So there's always activity going on with baseball, with soccer, pee-wee, baseball. So it's really nonstop, especially nights and weekends. It's just continuous tournaments, leagues, just games. So it is a place of constant activity.
That's a good thing. So, and I know we keep talking about community. We're going to take a short break in a minute here, but when we come back, I want to talk about, you specifically in the Y have formed greater partnerships,
Yes.
right? With other nonprofits, with a hospital, all to, again, expand those services to the community and what that's kind of brought for the community and being able to reach people who might not have otherwise been touched. So, but we're going to hold on that.
Yes,
We're going to
absolutely.
take our last break, and then we'll be back in just a moment.
Merrill Reese, here to tell you about my good friends at Haldeman Ford Subaru on Route 33 in Hamilton Township. For outstanding sales and service, you can depend on the folks at Haldeman Ford Subaru for the best value on new and pre-owned Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs, along with a great selection of value-priced new and pre-owned Subarus. And no one offers the service that Haldeman does in their huge, state-of-the-art service facility. Service so great that many area municipalities and commercial fleets get their service performed by Haldeman Ford Subaru. From Langhorne to Princeton, folks like you to commercial fleets trust the name Haldeman for sales and service. Haldeman Ford Subaru, Route 33 in Hamilton Township.
Radiology Affiliates Imaging has been part of the Hamilton community for over 50 years, with 2 convenient locations, RAI Chi Hamilton and RAI Lawrenceville. We offer expertise in all areas of imaging for all members of your family. Our board-certified specialty radiologists offer expertise in women's imaging, interventional radiology, musculoskeletal and diagnostic radiology. Whether you need an MRI, CAT scan, ultrasound, mammogram, or X-ray, we offer the latest in imaging technology and interpretation. In the last 50 years, RAI has earned our place amongst the largest and most respected radiology groups in our area. For more information on all RAI has to offer, visit www.4rai.com.
Well, welcome back to This Month in Hamilton. Want to again start out by thanking our sponsors, Angelo Onifree in the Mercer County Prosecutor's Office, Capital Health System, Haldeman Ford Subaru, and Radiology Affiliates Imaging. So, Diana, when we just before we went to break, we were talking about partnerships, right?
Yes.
And that community. And so, when you're forming partnerships with other community organizations, that's just it lifts everybody up as
It does. I
who's
say,
involved.
Absolutely. We're not an island, right? So the more we work with other people, obviously, the more we can expand our reach, right? And it's exponential, right? If you work with a partner, you can do so much more because then you have shared resources. And I love that model because it makes sense for everyone, right? And we've developed some wonderful partnerships over the last many, many years. One of the, I guess, oldest partnerships that I can think of is Miracle League. So they.
And we had Dan Schweck on this show a couple months ago. Yeah.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
What a great organization, and talk about dovetailing in what we do, right? So, and to me, in my mind, Miracle League really is an extension of the Y. So we both provide services for special needs community, and actually, so the Hamilton Y was one of the first YMCA's and/or organizations, I say YMCA's, that provided or that had an entire program just dedicated for special needs programs. And that was going back more than 20 years.
Wow.
So, yeah, and it was, at the time, it was very, forward thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And we had some board members like Tom Smith who really believed in it, in providing opportunities, and it was a great idea, and it expanded. So the partnership with Miracle League made absolute sense. Right, so they are housed on Sawmill. They are their own separate 501c3, but they sit on Sawmill property, and we love having them there.
Yeah.
Right? We also have camp for special needs individuals. So again, it flows back and forth, right? So we provide services, but so does Miracle League, right? And we work together in tandem to provide a more holistic, a program and approach for families.
And as you're a family, right, and you need that comfort level for who's supplying those services for your child, right?
Yes.
Who needs a little bit different approach or extra attention or whatever the case may be, right? You as the parent want that comfort level. You need that comfort level, and that synergy then
Yes.
helps build that trust
Yes.
from a family.
Absolutely, and there's lots of synergies that go back and forth between the Y and Miracle League, and you're right, and I think that helps families understand that we're all here together, right, to help and to do whatever it takes, right, to support your family.
And you're starting to develop those synergies the last couple of years with the Wilson Center.
Yes, so I met with Gloria. I guess this was very early on in my tenure. And I sat and we just, introduced ourselves, and I said, what could we do together? And if there's one thing you would want, what would it be? And she thought about it, and she said, swim lessons. And I thought, brilliant, like absolutely. So 5 years ago, we decided, with the help of the township, to transport kids twice a week to JKR or Sawmill to provide swim lessons. And that was the beginning of a very beautiful relationship that now has progressed into camp. So now they come to camp at Sawmill. But that, again, working together enabled us to both help each other and to help our community together.
And a lot of those kids are on scholarships attending those camps.
They are.
Yeah.
Yes.
So otherwise wouldn't be able to get to Sawmill or interact or enjoy those same facilities, right? They're now able to.
Absolutely. And again, we thank the township, because this year, again, the township has given us the ability to provide 45 scholarships.
Wow.
For Bromley and for Wilson Center, and transportation, again, and that was working with the township and your generosity. And your also understanding and your priority of making sure that there's equity across our community. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, it's really important, and you want the kids to have a few things, right? The social emotional learning of interacting with other kids, but then the experience that they might not have had otherwise, and then third, the structure of they come out of school, but now you keep them in a structured environment through the day as well. So again, we talk about wins all the way around, right?
Absolutely. It's so important for families that can't afford child care is very expensive, especially during summer. I mean, it becomes, if you're working, you may be working just to pay for child care. So having these opportunities where you can go to work and feel comfortable as a parent, right? I know as a mom that my kid is not just going to be home alone and I'm going to be worrying about them all day, but they're having fun, right? They're in a great place being taken care of, and they're having fun, and it makes me, as a parent, I can tell you, do my job even better, right? Because my mind isn't worried about my kids. They're in a safe, loving, happy environment, and they're having the time of their lives. So
And then a secondary benefit is hopefully they're exhausted when they come home and they go to sleep on time.
I was tired and dirty. That's what you want a kid. Like when you pick them up, that's the ideal kid.
Dinner, bath, bed.
That's right.
Yeah.
Do it all over again. Yes.
And then going back again to some of your, besides kids, right? You formed a partnership with Penn Medicine as well.
Yes, that's been, again, given blessings beyond. So they are both part of our facility right now on White Horse Mercerville Road. They do physical therapy there. So we have a very symbiotic relationship there that if you're doing physical therapy there, that you can come to the Y and work out anytime, as long, while you're on physical therapy. But beyond that, right, they provide an enormous amount of programs in our community. And the list is really too long to even to list, but they do making sure that your child sees in properly. You know how important that is as a new parent when you're like, oh my gosh, this contraption, what do I do with it? So, so they do things like that. They do protection RAD, which is, and I don't remember the abbreviation, but essentially teaching women how to protect themselves. And they do that for children as well. I've taken the RAD course. It is highly beneficial. As a woman, it makes you become more aware of what's going on, your surroundings, right? And a little more, you're a little more fearless. You can handle situations.
Self-confident too, yeah.
Absolutely, you know how to take someone down. So, but they provide just honestly a wealth of programs, and we help them do that through just promotion and through our partnership. So we are blessed again to have Penn Medicine as one of our partners. And
so you mentioned before an acronym that people may not understand right away, the JKR branch.
Yes.
So what's that?
Jack Rafferty. So, Mayor Rafferty, who was mayor here for 24
years. Yep.
Thank you. So the Y prior to Jack was just really a very small building and not a whole lot, of physical presence. The Y had been, here since 1951, but Jack saw this huge vision, and he really was a visionary, right? And he had this innate ability to get everyone involved and everyone on board. He was he was very iconic for his time. It was Jack's idea to expand the building to what we see today, and he had that vision and he made it happen. And even with Sawmill, he was just the driving force behind the YMCA for as long as he was here in Hamilton. So I thank him so much, and he again I actually get he's done so much for our Y, and I was blessed when I had come on that he was on our board for several years. So I actually got to work with him, and he truly is he was a wonderful man. So the building is in his honor, because without Jack, there would be no building, and there probably wouldn't be a sawmill either. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. You think about, again, you said the visionary, right? But just the big projects that he was involved in a transformational change under his leadership, kind of thing, right?
Absolutely.
Not just under the Y, but for a lot of things, but obviously the Y specifically too, right? And that's what made you hear about all these programs, and you can understand. But a lot of them weren't going on when he even had this vision. So it's easy for me to kind of say, this is great stuff, we need to preserve it, but these were things not even in existence then.
No, it was all really his vision. And again, I don't know if I said this in the beginning, so the Y again is, it's people really come together. YUSA has nothing to do with really creating a Y. It really is the people in the community that decide we're going to have a Y. And we need a Y because of various reasons, and the Y is always reflective of whatever the community needs, right? So, and Jack knew that intuitively, and he built something that reflected who Hamilton was.
So, we've been gushing about all the things you do, right? If somebody wants to get involved, they want to join, they want to work, they want to volunteer, how do they get in touch with you all?
Absolutely. So we welcome volunteers. There's plenty of things to do. So please go on our website, contact myself or Josh Morgan. He's our community outreach person. And maybe we could put that separately somewhere.
What's your website?
HamiltonYMCA.org.
Okay.
So just go there, but there's lots of opportunities for volunteers. And matter of fact, I'm going to shout out to First Bank, because during the field days for the 5th grade, we probably had about a dozen people from First Bank volunteer
Oh, wow.
and come out and help with the kids. And they loved it so much that some of them, they were only supposed to be there one day. They came back the other 2 days. So it really, like I said, it feeds the soul. They were so happy to be there and to be engaged with the kids that,
You see all the smiling faces, right?
yeah.
And then there's volunteer opportunities for some of the classes you talked about, or work opportunities. And even though you talked about some of the aftercare, school stuff,
Yes.
and all that, and you're probably always looking for people
We are
for.
always looking for good people to come and work for the Y. Honestly, just go on our website. There's always openings. There's several now, so please look at the website. Full-time, part-time, just check in on it, and we'd love to have more Hamiltonians on board.
So you mentioned before the Y's been here in Hamilton since 1951,
Yes.
so just over 70 years now.
Yes.
Wow.
We celebrated our 70th year during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So
And so then it means in 4 more years, you've got a big anniversary to celebrate.
big, yeah, absolutely. We're gonna have a huge celebration, huge shindig. Yeah.
That's awesome. And then in terms of you've got different boards, right? Your board and advisory board. So
Yes.
if people want to get involved in that too, just right on the website.
So that's a great point. That's something we probably should put on the website, but we do. So we have we have our board and our governing board, and then of course we have advisory, we have finance, property. So there's other areas that maybe you would gravitate towards more one than the other. But yes, there's absolutely committee positions. There's the gala that we do every year that raises lots of money that actually helps us support the rest of the year. And that happens in September, actually September 29th, and we're honoring
The Impossible, right?
I Impossible event.
Impossible,
Yeah,
yeah.
so we're honoring Rachel Holland and Lori Danko, so please join us. It's going to be an awesome event at the Stone Terrace. And yes, we need volunteers for that. So there's always things that our community can get involved in.
No, that's great stuff. That's great stuff. So, Dana, I really want to thank you for coming today. I want to thank you for your leadership at the Hamilton Area YMCA. I know it's been an incredibly stressful 2+ years for you, but to see you all come through it, and now to get back to not just the programming you were doing, but new programming
Yes.
and the like too, is really exciting stuff. I know you said the word community. I hope people weren't keeping track, because we've probably, between us, said it about 50 times during this hour. But I really think that goes to show our listeners, right, what the Y is all about here in Hamilton, why it's been a success for 70+ years now, and how it's being set up to be a success for 70 more years.
That's right.
Even after this. So want to thank you all for tuning in today. I want to thank WBCB for allowing us the opportunity to again bring you what's going on this month in Hamilton, and want to close by thanking our sponsors: Angelo Onifree in the Mercer County Prosecutor's Office, Capital Health System, Haldeman Ford Subaru, and Radiology Affiliates Imaging. So we'll see you next month.